African initiative is really the framework for how AEWA will orient itself in Africa. It was clear that the African partners, or African parties in particular, were very keen to catch up a bit, fill some of the gaps that to really strengthen their role within the agreement. Plan of action is more or less the practical guiding document of how that should take place. So there's a wide range of activities, all more or less fitting under the under 5 key objectives of the AEWA strategy. There's quite a focus on capacity building. This was identified as a key component and a priority for many of the African parties. There's also quite a component on sustainable use, and this was one area that I think the African parties were quite keen to change a bit and added some rather new kinds of activities, very much linking sustainable use to livelihoods issues, which are very important in Africa. There were a few slightly controversial issues, perhaps. Some are a little bit perhaps to do with the coordination issues, meeting some of the requirements of AEWA. For instance, the online reporting procedures, the online reporting system that AEWA has adopted. Overall, it looks like a great system, but if you are an African focal point having to visit the internet cafe, very weak connections, and filling in this kind of very quite detailed documentation, it can, I think, a few of them have found that experience rather frustrating. So that was not so much controversial, but I think it helped open the eyes to the Secretariat of some of the practical issues of what looks like a very useful tool. Actually using that tool can be quite difficult in some African countries. The coordination issue was perhaps caused some, not so much controversy, but I think some African parties are very keen that a part of the initiative is coordinated or from Africa. I think there was more of a clarity issue there on what is coordination and what is implementation, and I think they reached a very sensible compromise of trying to foresee a slim coordination unit in the headquarters of the Secretariat, and with sub-regional, strong sub-regional focal partners who will really oversee some of the implementation activities. Most of the African parties were very keen that they present one united voice together from Africa, and so this was a very positive outcome, I think.